Hey everybody out there in the bookverse, it's Stephanie. I'm back with another video. This is the first one I filmed since Christmas, so I'm really excited about that, and I'm going to do my final book haul of the year. So it's my last 2019 book haul, and it is a little bit bigger than I was expecting it was going to be, so we probably are going to try to zip right through it. If you are new to my channel, welcome. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to see more from me, definitely hit the subscribe button down below and hit the bell icon so you'll be alerted when I post new videos. But let's jump into the haul because it's huge. I was not expecting it to be this big. I thought I was showing some self-control and restraining myself from book buying a little bit, but you'll see that was not the case at all. So, okay, we're gonna start with books that I just got off of Amazon, which I think this is where I have shown the most restraint, is the Amazon buying. So I am proud with this. First one is just a graphic novel. It's called Descender. I think it's about an android who is made to be a friend for a young boy or something along those lines. And then somehow there was this galactic war or conflict that caused him to not need to be that anymore. I'm not quite positive. I heard that it is amazing though, and that it actually jerks at your heartstrings a little bit for a graphic novel. I'd be very impressed with that. So I'm really excited to read this, and this actually is going to be a prompt for my Winter Magical Readathon. So I'm going to be getting to this very soon. Very excited about that. The next book on this list is The Immortal Nicholas. This is by Glenn Beck, which honestly, I've never read anything by Glenn Beck. He's not really, I think he tends to write more political things, if I'm not mistaken. I know he does a talk show where he talks kind of about political or current event issues, and so I've never really read anything by him, but a lot of the people that I work with have been reading this book and absolutely loving it. I was planning on reading it before Christmas time. That's kind of why I got it, but I did not get around to it. I was very busy. I think this book is about how Santa Claus came to be, like Saint Nick. Not positive, but I know that it has to do with the true meaning of Christmas. It focuses on that a lot, and so maybe I'll save it for next year. It's a pretty small book, short read, so it'd be a nice Christmas thing to jump into. The next book that I got was How Rory Thorne Destroyed the Multiverse. I actually am pretty excited to get into a little bit more sci-fi. I've heard this one described kind of as a space opera, and I think it's a retelling of fairy tales, but in space. And I think this might be a little bit of the Sleeping Beauty fairy tale. Not 100% positive, but I know that it has to do with this girl who was born into a family that only has boys. And so she is supposed to take over and rule the multiverse, but last minute it gets switched and it's not her anymore, and she is sent off to marry someone else. I'm very interested to see what they do with this book. I haven't read a lot of sci-fi this way, so we will see. This one I'm hoping to get to soon just because I haven't seen anyone talking about it. And so I'd like to see what it's all about because there's not really hype around it. So that could be bad, that could be good. Another book that I picked up was The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I really wanted to read Daisy Jones and the Six, but I decided that I would go with this author's, Taylor Jenkins Reid's first book before I jumped into Daisy Jones and the Six. I've heard amazing things about this. This is about an extremely famous movie star who is now older and is giving an interview about her life. She's obviously been married 7 times, and it's just kind of following her life and her experiences. So I'm interested to see why the huge hype around it, because it doesn't sound like something that I would necessarily be interested in reading. To be honest, it's not the type of book I would gravitate towards, but I've heard amazing things about it, so I'm hoping it'll be great. The next book I am so beyond excited for, and that is The Labyrinth of the Spirits by Carlos Ruiz Zafón. He is the author of The Shadow of the Wind and The Angel's Game. I did read Shadow of the Wind and Angel's Game. I did not read the other one that was supposed to be more of a sequel to Shadow of the Wind. I know Angel's Game and The Labyrinth of the Spirits tend to be more of companion novels following the same place. It's set in Barcelona, Spain, and it has to do with books a lot. So I absolutely love the first 2 books in the series. I don't even know what this book is about, but I know that I have to read it because I love this author. He's one of those magical, amazing authors, kind of like Erin Morgenstern, where you just feel like you're a part of this world, and it's beautiful, and the writing itself just makes it feel gorgeous, and you could just live in these worlds forever, just like kind of live in the words. I love these books, so I'm extremely excited to get to this, but it's really intimidating because it's like 800, 900 pages long, something along those lines. Yeah, it's pretty much 800 pages, so I need to have some time to dedicate to it because I know I won't want to put it down. And the last book that I grabbed off Amazon was Sleeping Giants. This is a sci-fi story, I believe. I don't think you're really supposed to know because it's part of the twist. So I think it's a sci-fi story. This giant hand has been discovered. I believe it's in somewhere in America, South Dakota, North Dakota, one of the Dakotas. So they're experimenting on these. They're studying them, trying to figure out where this hand came from. They are so advanced that there is no way it could have been made by any of our civilizations, and they're thinking it came from outer space. They don't know. They want to figure it out. I'm really excited to get into this. I've heard great things about it. So this one should be high up on my list, and it's not too thick, so it could be one that I could throw in a month that I'm also reading thick ones like Labyrinth of the Spirits or Brandon Sanderson, because all his are pretty hefty. The next 3 books on the list are books that I just picked up on random trips to Barnes & Noble. Sometimes I just can't help myself, and honestly, my husband a lot of times says that I should just get a book sent when we go, and I mean, am I gonna say no? No, absolutely not. So one that I grabbed was Middle Game by Shauna McGuire. She is the author of Every Hearted Doorway, which I am really wanting to get into those books because I know that the next one's coming out soon. I hear they're amazing. But this one, Middle Game, is about, I believe, a man who created 2 beings, and these beings have the potential to become gods. And this man created them kind of to ride their coattails to godhood and gain power. And so it sounds fascinating and interesting, and I want to know what it's about. I've never read anything along these lines, and I think it would be so cool, so interesting. I haven't heard anything really about it either. Maybe I'm just not looking in the right places, but I think this could have the potential to be an amazing book. The next one that I have from Barnes & Noble is The Cabin at the End of the World. I think it is just a thriller, but it could potentially be paranormal or fantasy, and I think that might be part of the twist as well, is that you don't want to know. And I believe these people go on vacation. They're in a cabin and things start happening there. I think some people actually come to them. They're in this cabin in the middle of nowhere. Crazy, creepy things are happening, and I don't know if it's paranormal or fantasy. So I think that'd be really exciting in a book, because sometimes you just don't know. I felt that way about Shadow of the Wind. I was like, oh, this could potentially be fantasy. So I love when books make me feel that way. And the last one I picked up at Barnes & Noble was American Royals. This is just a YA contemporary that kind of goes along the path of what would have happened if George Washington would have accepted the crown of America when they won the Revolutionary War instead of becoming a president instead. So this follows the descendants of King George Washington, and the House of Washington is still ruling on the throne. The girl who is in here, the descendant of George Washington, is going to be the first female ruler of America, and it follows her and her family. Interesting premise. I think it's just going to be a nice, easy contemporary read that'll be fun to get through. I hear it is a series, though, which makes me hesitant to jump into it, but we'll see. If I don't like it, I don't have to continue. These next books that I got were all for Believe-a-thon, which happened in November. This was a middle grade readathon, and I really didn't have any middle grades, so I had to pick some up. The first one that I decided to go with was City of Ghosts by Victoria Schwab. This is about a girl who had a near-death experience and can now see ghosts. I have already read this book for Believe-a-thon, so I did enjoy it. It was a cute little middle grade. It's not necessarily a unique premise, but it's really fun, and I think it's good for children. I think kids would really love this book. The next book that I picked up for Believe-a-thon is The House with Chicken Legs. This is a Baba Yaga retelling, and it's about the granddaughter of Baba Yaga who is learning to become a guardian and help souls move to their next life or to the stars or whatever you decide to, whatever it is called. She doesn't really want to. She wants to just live a normal life, make friends, and stay in one spot. So this follows her. I also have already read this one, and I did enjoy it. I thought it was also a very cute, sweet story. The next book that I got for Believe-a-thon I actually don't have because I gave it to my mom so that she could take it and read it, because I also gave it to my niece so she could read it. So I'm kind of passing this book around, but it is Nevermore, and I also got the sequel to it, which is Wondersmith. They follow Morgan Crow, who is this young girl who was supposed to die on her 11th birthday, but was rescued by a man named Jupiter North, taken to a place called Nevermore, and had to go through these trials to try to become a part of their wonderful society. I don't remember what it's called. It's their kind of elite society of people who have these amazing talents, gifts, and she is taking part in those trials in the first book. I have already read it. I absolutely loved it. It was one of my favorite books that I've read this year, and I'm excited to get to Wondersmith. It might be a little while before I get to it as well. I don't know why I'm not as excited to get to it. I feel like I should be more pumped because I absolutely loved the first book, but the second book is definitely on my list, so I picked up both of those recently. And the last middle grade book that I have is Peter Pan. I don't feel like I need to tell you what this is about. It's a classic. I haven't gotten to it yet, and I think I really would like to get to it soon. I'd like to read more classics, but Peter Pan is one that I have high hopes for. Speaking of classics, let's just keep going along those lines. And the next classic that I picked up was Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier, I think is how you say her name. This is about a woman who marries this man who was married before, and she starts learning things about this wife who has died, and she becomes kind of obsessed with her. The deceased wife's name is Rebecca, and I think this is kind of a classic thriller, which I am very interested to read. I've been getting a lot more into thrillers lately, and I've been loving them a lot. So this one is high up on my TBR, and I'm really, really excited for it. I've heard amazing things about it. Next classic I grabbed was Fahrenheit 451. This is a nice short classic that helps me get into classics when I read the shorter ones. So get me used to them. They are all written a little bit differently because a lot of them are written a long time ago. So this one I believe is about a world where they burn books. It's about all I know about it. I am very interested to get into it. I've heard great things, and I've read Ray Bradbury before, and I absolutely loved him. So. And the last classic is The Great Gatsby, also a nice short one, and also one that I've heard really, really good things about. Now, this one is, I believe, a tragic romance story, which I am not a fan of. I don't love the tragedies. I don't mind when people die, and I don't mind when endings aren't that great, but I don't enjoy romances that are set up to fail because both people in them are not great people. I don't tend to enjoy those, but I want to give them another go. I haven't read that many, and most of them that I have read have been classics, so maybe it's just a classic style. I don't know, but I am excited to get into The Great Gatsby, and even if I don't enjoy it, it's not that long, so it won't have taken up that much of my time. The next two books on this list I got because of signings for them. So the first one is The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. This signing hasn't happened yet. Actually, it's going to be next month in January. So I am extremely excited for it. I absolutely love The Night Circus, and I haven't gotten to this one yet, but I definitely will before the signing. So I am so excited. Along the same lines of The Shadow of the Wind and Carlos Ruiz Zafón, Erin Morgenstern's writing is just beautiful. I feel like I could live in her worlds forever, and I wouldn't almost not care what was going on because I just love how it's written. Okay, that's not true. I have to have a good story and good characters, but she does give you such an amazing, beautiful, magical story, along with her writing being gorgeous. So I am so excited to read this book, and I feel like part of me is putting it off because I have hyped it up so much just for myself that I feel like I'm doing it a disservice. I can't read it because I'm scared that it won't live up to the expectations, and I'm scared that I'll be done and I'll have read this book that is amazing for the first time, the only time I'll be able to. Doesn't make sense. I know, but it's me. The next book was also for a signing. This one I have already gone to, and that is Starsight by Brandon Sanderson. This is the sequel to Skyward. It's his YA sci-fi series that he has started, and this is book number 2. It was actually the release party for this, so it was the day it came out. It was this big release party. He spoke to everybody. He signed books. He's really a funny, fun guy. I enjoyed listening to him talk so much. He's just honestly a really nerdy guy, not in a bad way, just he's so into these fantasy things, and he's so into all the nerdy things, and I love it. He can connect with his fans so much because he feels the same way. So I actually haven't even read the first one to this yet, which I think is terrible considering I went to the release, but I do have the first one as well, and I'm planning on getting to them soon because I am really wanting to get into a lot more Sanderson since he lives just like right down that way, a little bit that way. He lives that way just a little ways, so yeah, I'm very excited to get into that. And while we're along the lines of Sanderson, I did a thing and I bought all of his Mistborn books in these beautiful special edition UK versions. I absolutely love them. So this is the Mistborn series. It's about this magical high fantasy world where they perform magic through the use of metals. So here's the first one, The Final Empire, which is my favorite cover. I think it's beautiful. The second one, The Well of Ascension, and then the third one is The Hero of Ages. So I am extremely excited about these books. And while we are talking about special edition books that I bought that I probably should have restrained myself, I got the specials of the Gentleman Bastard series. So the first one is The Lies of Locke Lamora. The second one is Red Seas Under Red Skies, and then the third one is The Republic of Thieves. I haven't read any of these. I know it's kind of this heist crew, but I hear it has amazing characters, like really, really well-developed characters that you come to really love, and they have really strong friendships, and they just have like these bromances going on in there, and I'm really excited to get to them. There are so many books I want to read. It's a problem, but these ones, yeah, and they're beautiful, right? The next ones that I got, I wasn't planning on getting. I was planning on showing some restraint, but it happened. So I ended up getting Scythe and Thunderhead by Neal Shusterman from Amazon. These are the first and the second books in the arc of the Scythe trilogy, and they take place in this kind of utopian-ish world where we have conquered death and everything is, perfect. And these people called scythes just go around and kill people to control the population, and it's supposed to be at random and no one really knows when it's going to happen, and it's impartial, and I'm feeling like there's going to be more issues going on in here than we realize. And we follow these two apprentice scythes, I believe, who are learning to be scythes in this world. And the reason I got them is because I got a special signed edition of The Toll from Owlcrate, and I'm going to be honest, I can't tell what is special on this cover. I have looked and I don't know, but it is the third book in this series. It's signed. I wish I could tell you what was special about it, but it looks pretty much like all the other ones. So I am really excited about this series though, even though I can't figure out what the special edition bit is. I have heard amazing things about the series. The last one came out in the beginning of November, and people were just raving about this series all up until that point, and then they were talking about the final one. So I am really excited to get to them, but they aren't exactly on the top of my list. I have some other things I would like to get to first, and while we're on the lines of Owlcrate, I will just show you real quick the books that I got in my Owlcrates since my last book haul that I did, which was in October for my birthday. So the October Owlcrate I had already opened before this came out, or before my birthday, so it is before that, but the other ones I will show you just really quick since I've already talked about them. The October box was a sci-fi based one, so I have Cryer's War and I Hope You Get This Message. It had two hardcover special editions, which is amazing, and I'm excited for both of them, probably more for Cryer's War, because I'm a fantasy person. And the one that we got for the November box, which I am pumped about, is Winterwood by Shea Ernshaw. I mean, look at this. This is gorgeous. I am so excited about Winterwood. I'm hoping to get to it in January because I want to read it along with the Wolf Pack with Sasha. Her channel is The Wild Sasha. I'll link it down below so you can see that. And also I got the special edition of The Queen of Nothing by Holly Black. This is the third and final book in the Folk of the Air trilogy, the first one being The Wicked King. I'm not going to explain this book. It's super popular right now, but I also will kind of transition over. I also got the Fairy Loot special edition of this one, which I think I like the Owlcrate one better, but I love these sprayed edges on the Fairy Loot with the snake. I think I opened this too close to Christmas, and now it's always going to remind me of Christmas. So it happens. It's not Fairy Loot's fault. But while we were in the Fairy Loot books, I also got Serpent and Dove. This was their September box, but I get it later, so it wasn't open until later in October. It has beautiful sprayed edges. It's gorgeous. I've already read this one. I thought it was pretty good. It wasn't amazing, but I enjoyed myself reading it. The next one is their October box, and the book is The Beautiful by Renee Ahdieh. I actually am pretty excited to get to this one. I've heard mixed reviews, but sometimes I just need a nice, easy YA romance book with some paranormal stuff going on. So this one's probably going to be fit into my TBR when I need to break up some more heavier things. And the last book on this list, you guys, we're getting through them. I'm pretty proud of us, is A River of Royal Blood. This was in the November. Yeah, it was in the November Fairy Loot box, and I like the black sprayed edges. I think it's great. I don't really like the shiny covers that much, but that's just a personal preference. I don't know if I'm going to be getting to this one anytime soon. It's not something that I am really, really excited to read, but I think it could potentially be really good. I don't know. There's a lot of the royal stuff going on right now and fighting between like sisters or siblings in royalty for who gets the crown. It's become super, super popular. And I don't know, I feel like it has to be like really awesome for me to enjoy that anymore because I've seen a lot of it. But yes, this is my last book haul of the year. I thought I had done better about not buying books, but apparently I failed. It's fine. I've accepted it. Oh, wait. I didn't show you the one book that I got for Christmas. The book I got for Christmas was The Rise of the Magics by Nora Roberts. I have actually never read anything by Nora Roberts, but she's kind of iconic and amazing, and I would love to read more things. I would love to read things by her. So this is the third book in the series, and so my husband got it for me, and he said since it is the third book, he'll buy me the first and second as well. And I am very excited to get into this series. I want to move it pretty high on my TBR. I'd love to start the first book in January, but we'll see what happens. I think my January is gonna be pretty busy. I'm going on a trip to Puerto Rico, so we'll see what I get to, but I am excited about so many of these books that I have on this list, which is great. I feel like I shouldn't be buying books that I'm not extremely excited about. So yeah, let me know if you have read any of these books and which ones you think I should prioritize, which ones I should be moving to the top of my TBR, and which ones you didn't really like, so maybe I could push them off a little ways. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. As always, if you like this, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more from me, definitely subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you'll be alerted when I post new content, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.